Hello guys, my running kid here coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody is well. What time is it? Yeah. um it's comic review time. Back again, as always. Show some love and respect to my mentor and good friend, Blue Goblin. Bro fist, bro. But also I wanted to let everybody know something new has happened to me this past week. You're looking at a new member of Dark Avenger Inc. Plus, yeah, for all those who didn't know, yeah, I was invited into the league, if he may speak, and here I am, just to let everybody know, pretty much. Um, I'm around my kind of people, in a sense, and if you want to check out, the links, the links will be in the description, from Dark Avenger Inc. Plus and Inc. And you can just see for yourself the type of good people that I'm around and working with. But enough about that, it's the comics. We're in, what episode is this? 80, what, 2, I think? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm here for the comics. Give you the comics, give you the lowdown. So, I got about 14 books for you guys. A few from DC, one from Independent, and Marvel. So as always, still in the month of January, I present the books. I present DC. As always, it'll go DC, Independent, and then we'll end it with Marvel. So the first book, excuse me, on the list is Batwing. Get that glare out of there. Ooh, there you go. Batwing number 16. This is a title I've been telling people don't sleep on. If you don't want to read any Batman or anything like that, but you want a Bat title, you want somebody that is kind of in and out of the Bat family, this is it. Okay, so Fabian Nicieza is the writer on this issue, and Florentoni is the artist. Marcus 2 is not doing the artwork in this. This was pretty much a standard issue, standalone issue, where David Batwing is trying to get evidence to convict this very powerful individual in Africa who raped this girl. Evidence is coming up short. Even though he is a police officer, he knows that his department is corrupted. People are, he knows that, and it's up to him to find the evidence need be to convict this very powerful man in Africa, and bring him to justice, pretty much. And that's pretty much the basis of the book. It was a very good standard storytelling. It was really good. You just see what drives David Batwing. We see what drives him even more, and that was the basis of it, pretty much. And I'm still enjoying Batwing very much. Batwing number 16. If you can get that glare out of it, you see it. All right, you see it now? Yeah, there you go. All right, let's move on to the Dark Knight himself. Detective Comics number 16. This is still tied into the death of the family story that's going on. John Layman and Jason Fabok, who does the artwork. Fabok's artwork is really good. Don't let that cover fool you. But the basis of this story is the return of the Joker has brought out the crazies, in a sense, have brought out this cult known as the League of Smiles, and these people are kind of like worship the Joker, in a sense, and they will do anything it takes to like give him his just due. You got a former Arkham Asylum doctor, I believe she's a chef in a sense, a dentist. You got all who dress up in the mask and like kind of like Joker and go around just hurting people for the fun of it, or just in like praising the Joker as a god. So they're giving him his daily worshiping and things like that. But we also find out that Bruce finds out that they're not just doing this on their own. There's someone else involved in it. They have a leader, and his name is the Merrymaker. So that's pretty much the basis of that. And then there's another story in the back of it, another backup story that's getting into this whole new Penguins thing that's coming soon. But other than that, it was fine. Really nothing with the Joker or anybody like that. It was just Bruce dealing with the crazies, in a sense. Yeah. Alright. So let's move on to a book I highly recommend people to pick up, because this book has just been great. And Mr. James Robinson has been doing an excellent job on it. And if you just heard me say that name, Mr. James Robinson, I'm talking about Earth 2. Get a good look. Sorry. Look who's on the cover, Steppenwolf, and a woman, black-haired woman, raven-haired, looks like by his side. Now, this particular issue right here basically talks about what Steppenwolf has been up to since the invasion all those 5 years ago. And he's in I'm forgetting what country, but he's kind of lying low, not really lying low, but more like the king of that country, King Morrow, has invited him in there and things like that. But however, it was all like a ploy to get Steppenwolf in so the king can get all the technology, apocalyptic technology and everything like that. And Steppenwolf is no fool. We all know that. He's no fool. He's no fool. He knows what's going on, and he pretty much is orchestrating a coup, basically a takeover the king's kingdom. And this woman here on the cover plays a big part in it. Her name is Fury. Now, who she is and what she is, I will not spoil. That, my friends, you just have to read for yourself, because when you read it, you're gonna be like, ooh, like, oh. But other than that, does Steppenwolf take over the kingdom? I'm not gonna spoil that either for you. You just gotta find out. But this has just been really good story, good storytelling, really good issue, and just shows you how cunning and calculative Steppenwolf is. Good stuff. Alright, let's kind of move this really quick, because I'm really waiting for issue 17 when the new creative team comes into a factor, and that's Green Arrow. I am a Green Arrow fan. I do support the character, but I can admit that for the past 16 issues, it has not been living up to the Ollie that I remember reading back, you know. But the basis of this is Ollie is taking back the city from this guy called Harat, who's pretty much running the show, running Seattle to the ground in a sense, with his drugs and this and that. And it's up to Ollie to pretty much bring him to justice. Do what he does. Take him down. Do your stuff. Do his stuff. You know what I mean? But other than that was pretty much it. But I'm waiting for Lehman and all of them to come on and bring Ollie back to what he's supposed to be. And when that creative team comes on in issue number 17, looking forward to that. And make sure, believe, I will be reviewing that on this, definitely. But I just can't wait to, you know, finally get Ollie back to spotlight that he belongs to be in. You know what I'm saying? Alright. So let's move on to Green Lantern New Guardians Annual #1. Keith Giffen, Scott Collins. The basis of this is really, I didn't mind this annual too much. I thought it was okay, personally, with me. The artwork could have been better. They should have got. I feel they should have got somebody else to do the artwork. The real big lanterns in this is Carol, Arquillero, and Saint Walker, and they're dealing with Jihad. I'm forgetting his last name. Hall, I think that's his name. But basically, all this is setting up. This was just a setup for that new book called Thresholds that's coming out, which is supposed to be all the DC Galaxy heroes like Captain Carrot and, you know, people like that. I've heard Adam Strange is supposed to be in that book as well. But yeah, that's the basis of it. I'm sorry, I wasn't really. I was just like, it was okay, you know. It's just me. I'm sorry. World's Finest, Huntress and Power Girl. Paul Levitz, George Perez. Mr. George Perez, always loved his artwork. A deadly blast from the past. Looks like somebody's taking it to Karen Starr, aka Power Girl. That's a nice cover though, if you can see it. Nice cover. The basis of this, Helena Wayne is in New York City, my neck of the woods. Basically, she's just out enjoying herself, and all of a sudden, there's a hit on her. She's getting shot at. And we find out later that why there's a hit on her, this goes back to in her mini-series that Paul Levitz did. So, for all those who are reading it, you have to go back and read to understand why these people are coming after. You read her that little mini-series they did when we thought it was Helena Bertinelli and not Helena Wayne. But that was pretty much the base of it, and it's up to, you know, Karen helping out her friend, you know, pretty much there, and finding out who put the hit on her, why, stopping it. Standard issue storytelling, standard issue one-shot deal, no big storyline, no story arc. But at the end, and this is what I was really looking forward to. I'm gonna spoil this time. Spoiler alert. We go to the Batcave, and Alfred is dusting off Damien's costume and boots and everything like that. And Bruce is like, he's been keeping something from us. So it's like, oh, now we're getting somewhere. Maybe now I was looking for a major DC hero to get involved in this, to figure out now. Okay, so hopefully this is leading to something. Like, Bruce is gonna go find out what his son was up to that day when he was with his sister, and who she is. And I won't be surprised if Clark gets involved and find out who Power Girl is. You know, I'm looking at. I think that's what Mr. Levitz has been building up to, and I hope that's what it is, because that would be good. And I think that could also turn this series around for some people who are not really liking it. You know, it's like, no. But I think people would get back on it for those who got off of it if something like that happened. Okay? Alright, so we move on to independent. And the only independent book I have for today is from Valiant Entertainment, Shadowman #3. Good series here. Alright, Justin Jordan, Patrick Zacher, who does the artwork. Artwork is great. Zacher does a very good job. Basically, the new Shadowman, I forget what is his name again. Michael. Dang, I'm sorry guys. Like, I gotta remember his name. I'm trying to remember his name. What's his name? Jack Bowfest. Bowie Face. He's coming to grips of his heritage and his legacy, that he is the new Shadowman. His father was a Shadowman, and so on and so forth. And he also knows what the Shadowman is for, to protect the world against the dark forces of the underworld and the hell and things like that. And I always love the supernatural and stuff like that, so I'm big into that. And right when he was about to get educated on who he is and what he is by two of allies known as Docs and Mary, I believe, this woman right here, as you can see right here, this woman, the villain of the group, of the book, that red guy you see right there, Mr. Twist, comes into their sanctum, and because now Jack wore an amulet that would keep him safe, like hidden from the dark forces, but when he found out about his parents, he kind of threw it away out of anger, and now he's back on the radar. So he has to come to grips that he's the new Shadowman, and he has to take up. It's either you take up the legacy or you don't. And what do you think he chose? But other than that, it was still good. You know, Valiant, once again, as I said it before, Valiant had the biggest comeback in comics, in my opinion. One of those independent companies, I tell you, get on one of the books. You won't be disappointed. I promise you, you won't. As for me, I'm reading about 3 of them now. Shadowman, Exo-Man of War, and Bloodshot. Good stuff. Alright, so that's all DC, that's all independent. We move on to Marvel. Alright, and I got a few Marvel, including the big one is in there, yes indeed. And I'm going to tell you what I thought of it, actually. So let's kick it off with Cable and X-Force number 3. Salvador LaRocca. First of all, that cover is badass. I love that cover, if you can see it. Badass cover. Salvador LaRocca's artwork is great to me. I've always loved his artwork. Always loved his artwork. Hopeless does a good job. Now we're getting to see what the purpose of Cable and his X-Force team is about, even though he said don't call us that. We know Cable is dying again. He's dying again because, remember, the technovirus was taken out of him, but now his brain is dying, and we all know that you can't live with the brain, and he's not telling Hope. He's not telling Hope about that. But we realized that he also got to see a premonition of the future, and that's what he's planning for. And it has something to do with a franchise, like a fast food franchise. That's where it starts, and it builds up from there. And that's pretty much what the team is based off of, pretty much trying to stop this before it happens, or letting it happen and then cutting it off. Time travel, you know, time travel, you know, the future and everything is crazy. No DeLorean though. But one of my favorite scenes in this is, once again, as I always tell people, don't sleep on Forge. And people like always saying, oh, Forge's mutant power is so stupid, it's dumb. They kind of show really more of what Forge's abilities, in terms of, yeah, this guy can create anything he wants. But there's also some more into it. We get to see a little bit more of his powers. Matter of fact, let me show you a little bit of what he is capable of doing. Forge, his part of the plan was to go in and shut down the security of this place, but he got caught, and the woman is explaining to him, but he's not kind of listening because this big armored guy is behind him. And here we go right here. As you can see, Forge is... That's how Forge looks at mechanics, machinery. He's deducing like everything. Like, for example, here, like up top here, it says like the helmet top design is flawed, so he knows if I go after the head, it'll break. You know, the power cells, everything like that. That's how Forge looks at certain things, and I thought that was a great way. I thought Hopeless did a very good job of showcasing that Forge is a great character, and for me, he's actually one of those great Native American characters. And well, you guys should already know how I feel about Native American characters. That's something that's a part of me. So it's actually good to showcase Forge like that. But this issue gets you a little bit more of in-depth into what's the team's purpose, in a sense. And that was pretty much the basis of it, because I think a lot of people were trying to figure out, okay, why is this team together? Why are they, you know, what's the deal? But Cable does not want Hope involved in any of this. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't want it at all. Doesn't want his daughter involved. But you know, as Cable likes to say, it's hard of arguing with her. So sometimes you got to use a little bit of persuasion, and he kind of did. All right. So we move on to Greg Roca's final few issues of the Punisher, Punisher Warzone. As you can see, this is issue number 3 of 5, and yeah, it's Punisher coming up against Thor. Yeah. So how do you think this issue went about? You think Punisher came up with all these booby traps and everything like that to get Thor down? Sorry Punisher fans, it ain't happening like that. The Avengers send in the big guns to bring in Punisher, in a sense. Thor is really just trying to understand Punisher, why he does the things he does. Why is he doing this? What is this? And once again, I'll read a few parts of what Thor says to Punisher about himself, about Punisher himself. And when you think about it, he's got a good point. So basically, after Punisher captures Thor captures Punisher, he really just like, okay, you're done, like, stop. He punches him out, as you can see. He knocks him out. Thor just, yeah, he knocks Punisher out. And afterwards, they're here sitting down, and Thor hands Punisher a beer, and he's like, here, let's drink. And he starts to talk about him, you know what, and he basically goes on to say, here's what Thor says. He says basically, sometimes it's better than never. He's talking about beer here. Then he says, and then Punisher says sometimes, but then he says, or have an abandon all life in pursuit of your war, Punisher. And then Punisher says, war is my life. And then he says, then you fight for nothing. Drink with me. And you see them crack a beer. You see it at the bottom. They crack a beer together. And then, you know, he goes on to talk about, you know, Punisher. Thor goes on to say, I know you, Punisher. I know you very well indeed. Punisher says, you don't know me at all. And Thor, you know, is like, I know your madness. Your life is a battle, and nothing more. This world is your battlefield, and nothing else. The blood roars in your ears, and the song of it plays in your heart. What began in pain and rage is now lost in that sound. So basically, Thor is saying, like, when you first became the Punisher, it was about vengeance, you know, rage, you know, getting back at the people who killed your family, you know, no justice. And then he basically says, you fight because you do not know how to fight. You don't know how to fight, not to fight. Basically saying you can't stop if you wanted to. And then Punisher's, I fight in a war. No, you made a war so you may fight. You made a war so you may murder. Which begs the question, have you become the enemy? And then Thor just pretty much he flies away. He doesn't bring him in. He doesn't bring him in. And Thor goes to tell Cap what happened and everything like that. But the woman that was with Punisher, Rachel Coles, if she's found guilty, she's get the death penalty. And Thor tells her that your female ally is in trouble. Like, what are you gonna do, in a sense? So I thought this was a very pleasant issue. You know, I mean, we all should have known Punisher versus Thor. You crazy? I mean, yeah, I'll give credit where, I mean, Punisher did outsmart that god-awful Sentry one time, but Thor is a different color horse, pretty much. This is a warrior true, and you know, it was fun though. I did like how Roca wrote Thor's speech for him, and it makes a lot of sense of what Thor was trying to tell Frank Castle. Like, yeah, you kind of are. You can't stop if you wanted to. You become the enemy, in a sense, and that was kind of interesting. I thought that was really good. All right. Okay, so we move on to all the power, none of the responsibility. Scarlet Spider number 13. Yeah. In this particular issue, Kane is still kind of dealing with the human trafficking as well, but it does a lot more have to do with the little girl that he has been befriending and he's been having to live with. We find out that there's more to her than meets the eye, and she is more special than you think she is. And in that process, two individuals who are actually wolves come looking for her. They're on the hunt for her. And bottom line, guys, by the end of the issue, it's not looking good for Kane at all. At all. Man, I've never seen Kane thrashed like he was at that last part. It was not very textbook, like the good guy wins in the end. No. In this issue, it's not looking good. I won't spoil it, but let's just say Kane better rise up from this, because if not, but it was still good though. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Still good. All right. Okay, so first of all, everybody's been asking me, so Chris, are you gonna get Secret Avengers? Are you gonna? Dudes, I read every Avenger book there is, so I've been reading every Avengers book even before the Avengers got really big. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to read Secret Avengers, and that's what we're gonna talk about. Secret Avengers number 36. Rick Remender still is doing a fantastic job, in my opinion, with this. And like I said, it's the coming of the automatons, as you can see. All these automatons and Hawkeye down there. So we find out that the father, who's like the leader of these automatons, is actually the real life father of Captain Britain, Brian Braddock. And everything, even Eric O'Grady pretty much is no longer who you think he is now. He's working with them as Black Ant. And it's up to only a few Avengers left. Spider-Man's there. That's still Peter Parker Spider-Man. Beast, Hawkeye, Valkyrie, Widow, people like that to deal with this, because it's not looking good. And okay, yeah, Hank Pym, I forgot Hank Pym's there. But it's still the coming of the machines. They got Sentinels walking around Manhattan, dudes. So you know where that's going. But it's not looking so good for the last of the Avengers in a sense. Very much. All right. Yeah, okay, I'll do it now. So this is probably what everybody's been wanting to hear, what I have to say about this book. All right. Yeah. The Superior Spider-Man #1. Dan Slott, Ryan Stegman, Edgar Delgado. So, what did I think of this issue? I loved it. I actually loved it. It was good. Wow. Very good. There were some things, I'm not going to spoil too much for you guys, but let's just say, how can I call him now? Auto Peter, I guess you can call it that. He's got some good gadgets, in retrospect. Now, he's dealing with a new Sinister Six in this issue, that is made up of the Living Brain, a new Beetle that's female, Boomerang, who I haven't seen in a long time since that Jackpot one shot way back, Shocker, Speed Demon, and Big Wheel. I believe that's the last person. And the way he's just talking to them is just like, oh my god. Like, he's like, Shocker and Boomerang, what a joke. Like a joke. You know, there's some things where Boomerang thinks he's got him at bay, and he, all of a sudden you see, without spoil this, these claws retract from his fingertips, and he slashes Boomerang across the chest, and Boomerang's like, when does Spider-Man do that? And things like that. But we find out what those really were. And I'm gonna spoil that. They're actually nano spider tracers that get into your bloodstream, and he can keep track of it. And I'm like, wow, look at Otto get down. You know, I'm like, okay, well, now why didn't Peter think of something like that? But you see him speaking to Max Modell, and you know, speaking to, you know, how he's on a date with Mary Jane, you know, everything like that. And he's still kind of like, you know, Peter's gonna get all the credit for all this stuff I'm creating, especially when he's at Horizon. You know, he's like, Peter's gonna get the credit, not Otto Octavius. Peter, but you know, I'm Peter Parker now, blah, things like that. Now he gets back to fighting the Sinister Six, the new Sinister Six, and man, he nearly does something to, I think it's Boomerang or Speed Demon, one of them, that just, he was not pulling back. But the ending was something I was like, whoa, what's this? What is this? And when I saw that, I'm not going to spoil it, but when I saw what I saw, The only thing I can do was simply, well, I'll let my friend do it for you. Take it away, bro.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Exactly. That is exactly how I was doing it. Now I'm more invested into this issue. More invested in this title. Like I said before, guys, I'm gonna ride this storm through. But it was really, really good. I've very much enjoyed it. Just another chapter for Spider-Man in a sense. So yeah, gotta give Dan Slott credit. Give him credit. Give him credit on it. So yeah, I did not hate it, guys. Did not hate it. What time is it? Yeah. Mention time. Next up, in my opinion, the second best book in Marvel now. Jason Aaron's Thor God of Thunder #4. Cover is nice. You got old Thor on the cover. Look at that. King Thor. He's really old and he's got only one arm now. As I said before, guys, Jason Aaron's is channeling the spirit of the king himself, Jack Kirby. Just channeling it through in his writing, because this feels just like old school Lee and Kirby Thor. That's all it is. And Thor is still on the trail of Gorg, the god killer. He meets a god that's been hiding in the cave that Thor, younger Thor, when he was younger, met and got tortured in by Gorg. This god is known as what's his name? Skydark. Skydark. And he represents wine and something else. And he's scared to death because Gorg actually killed his fellow gods, cut his eyelids off so he can't close his eyes and watch all the butchering. He just stood there and watch him. Just watch what I'm doing. Watch me just kill your gods. And Thor gets the 411 on what Gorg his main objective is. Wipe out every god, every plethrum, everybody. But more importantly, wipe out Thor. Hurt him even more. His family, his friends, Asgard, you name it. But Thor comes up with an idea to kind of get some help in that. But I'm not going to spoil. But once again, it breaks down. Aaron does a good job breaking it down from past Thor when he was still the young, brash, arrogant, where he didn't have Mjolnir, and then of course current Thor, and then we see a possible future Thor. They keep saying it's the future, but I doubt it. And we see Gorg has his little hellhounds, which he called the Black Berserkers, in this. But it's still good. This was just really good, and I just applaud Aaron's on his work on this book. It's been just great. I've been loving it very much.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, right. Yes, 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 yes. No, I'm just messing with you. But no, Thor God of Thunder, good stuff. And the final book, guys, once again, is coming from Mr. Aaron's. I know my man Tanaka-Khan is reading this. I know he is loving his fellow Alabamian. I hope I'm saying it right. You know, big ups to Alabama. And this is none other than Wolverine XMen #23. That's a nice cover, though. Wolverine and Frankenstein. This is the end of the circus deal that the team has gone through. The team has regained their memory because of the spell that this witch had casted on them is breaking free, and they're dealing with what's going on with this evil circus. Now, does this fight actually happen? Wolverine and Frankenstein? Yeah, it does. It does. Does does that happen? Not really. Um, does something happen to Frankenstein? Yeah, Wolverine does something to him. Am I gonna spoil it? No, I'm not, because you just got to read it. This is once again, I've been saying it. My mentor Blue Goblin has been saying it. This is just a fun-loving X book all around. Aaron's has put the fun back into X-Men, and doesn't always need to be serious. It's a good blend, little comedy, action, good storytelling. Now for me, Bradshaw's artwork still is tolerable, but I don't like the big fat faces that everybody has, and they have like these pudgy faces, and their eyes a little bit, they almost look like, how could I, you ever watch cartoons where they have Stan Laurel and Oliver Harley? That's how they look, kind of. I don't like that fat looks too much. But it's the end of the book that also is good too, because they're still trying to find the Hellfire Club, the kids, and we find out that one of the kids that was with them, that was trying to get Idy, is he finally recognizes, he finally gives his true name. Now, the real ending is somebody's coming. The witch that cast a spell on them, on the X-Men, was praying to her god or somebody like that. Now, who is that god? Who is that master? Not going to spoil it because he came out of the fire. But what I will tell you is he's the father of a deceased X-Men. Okay? I'll give you another clue, because there's a lot of deceased X-Men. But his son died protecting Hope Summers. There you go. Whose father am I talking about? There you go, guys. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As always, always get a blast doing the comic reviews, and just can't wait to hear everybody's input and see what they picked up and what they thought of the titles that they picked up, or they got the same thing that I got. You know, as always. But as always, it's always a pleasure, guys. I will see you guys next week, God willing, as always, with another review, as always. And this is Wolverine Kid. You know the closing statements, guys. Peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real, guys. I'll catch you guys on a flip-flop. And what time is it? See you guys later.